Everyone building an AI investing agent is asking the same question. What's the price going to do next? On FinBen, the standard financial benchmark suite, GPT-4 scored 0.54 accuracy, predicting whether a stock moves up or down. That's from the 2024 paper on the Big Data 22 dataset. And nobody has rerun FinBen on the current frontier models. A coin flip with a subscription fee. And it gets worse. A December 2025 paper measured how much of an LLM's return prediction edge is just the model remembering an answer it was trained on, about 37%. Strip out the memorization and the effect stops being statistically significant. So I built the opposite thing. 3 Claude agents, 3 different jobs, every single number forced to carry a citation, and then I made them argue with each other. And Agent 3 caught a line in a footnote the other 2 walked straight past. Stick around for that one, because that catch is the entire point of this build. My name is Lewis, and welcome to the AI Bureau. Now, if claims that actually survive a fact check are your thing, do us a favor and tap that like button and hit that subscribe button as well, because our research team spends its days pulling these benchmark numbers apart so that you don't have to take a leaderboard at face value. And that matters more than usual today, because 2 of the figures in this video have genuine problems, and I'll tell you exactly which ones. 3 agents: extractor, analyst, adversary. Weakest job first, and the adversary last, because it's the only one that earns its tokens. So let's get into it. Here's the trap. On Val's AI Finance Agent v1.1, the top model, Claude Opus 4.7 managed 64.37% on junior analyst filing work. Then they made the test harder. On Finance Agent v2, 927 expert-reviewed questions. The top score at launch in May was GPT 5.5 at 51.76%. Newer models have since pushed that up. Claude Opus 5 at 58.63%. and Muse Spark 1.2 at 60.60% on partial credit. Still nowhere near a pass mark though. Under strict perfect accuracy scoring, the leaders fell below 40%. On financial modeling specifically, 23%. Honest note here, and I'm flagging it now, I could not find a public Val's subscore labeled forward trend projection, so I'm not going to quote that one to you. The peer-reviewed look-ahead paper makes the same point with a real number. The model isn't forecasting, it's recalling. So stop asking it to predict and start asking it to verify. Extractor pulls the numbers. Analyst runs them against history and peers. Adversary attacks both of them. Now, why can't one prompt do all 3? Because of a Stanford paper called Lost in the Middle, published in TACL, accuracy on retrieval follows a U shape. Brilliant at the start of the context, brilliant at the end, and it drops 20 to 30 points when the fact that you need is buried in the middle. The paper is explicit that a bigger context window doesn't fix it. It just builds a bigger middle, which is exactly where the page 150 footnote lives. First job, and it's the boring one. Scoped retrieval, not dump and pray. The numbers come from the SEC's Company Facts API, which returns every XBRL tagged fact a company has ever filed. 2 gotchas that will break you on day 1. The CIK has to be 0 padded to 10 digits, and your user agent header needs a real contact email, or the SEC hands you a 403. Then narrative retrieval. Table of contents first. Jump to item 8. Pull only the named footnotes. And every number comes back with the page and the table header in brackets. If it can't cite it, it invented it, and the agent returns not found instead. Then the numbers go to JSON and Python does the arithmetic. The text layer never does the maths, ever. Second job, and this is where the judgment starts. Margins go against the 5-year rolling average, not last year. The tell is divergence. Gross margin holding, while operating margins slides means SG&A is eating the business. Coverage ratios are orientation bands, useless without the peer group. And item 1A gets read inverted. The compliance load and capex burden a company lists as risks to itself, that's the wall keeping competitors out. The caveat here is real, and it's a data one. Restatements mean multiple values exist for the same period, and 10Q figures are cumulative year to date. So standalone Q3 is Q3 minus Q2. Naive ratio maths on raw XBRL will quietly give you nonsense. Third agent, the one whose only job is to disagree. It diffs the language year over year and asks what disappeared. The evidence is Cohan, Malley, and Nguyen, Lazy Prices, Journal of Finance 2020. Filings from 1995 to 2014, sorting firms by how much their language changed, monthly alphas up to 188 basis points on the extremes. The honest caveat? That sample stops in 2014, and the decay story since then is market consensus, not a replication study. It also runs Logran McDonald word lists, because the general purpose dictionary misread roughly 75% of so-called negative words in a 10K. Liability, cost, tax, routine words, not warnings. And one build note nobody mentions: adversary agents cave. Without a hostile system prompt demanding at least 2 material contradictions, it just agrees with the analysts. Now, if this build is useful, subscribe now, because the next bit is where the 3 of them fall out. 1 filing, all 3 running. Extractor returns clean numbers with citations. Analyst says margins are in band against the 5-year average and the pure set. Both agree. Adversary disagrees. It flags a contingency footnote where the phrasing moved from the risk of loss being remote to a loss being reasonably possible, with no range given. Under ASC 450, that's not decoration. That's a legally meaningful reclassification. And in the same diff, an operational KPI from last year's filing has quietly vanished. Neither shows up in a single ratio. I'm labeling that example illustrative of the mechanic. The verified real-world version of the SEC's enforcement action against Mylan over EpiPen lost contingency timing. The resolution isn't a trade. It's a 3-line question list you take to the filing yourself. Now, the sober bit. Forbes, February 12, 2026. Put the average annual return of fully autonomous AI-managed funds at negative 1.8%. One outlet, no independent corroboration I could find. And it's contradicted by FinQ's AIUP and AINT, up 15.67% and 19.05% since inception against the S&P's 8.69%, treated as directional, not absolute. The compliance side is firmer. FINRA's 2026 Oversight Report carries a standalone Gen AI section for the first time. Prompt and output logging, documented human sign-off, and AI washing prosecuted under ordinary anti-fraud rules. Autonomous agents get named specifically as high risk. The best documented enforcement precedent is still Delphia and Global Predictions from 2024, which is now over 2 years old. A fully autonomous version of this build is a compliance problem and a losing strategy at the same time. Here's what everyone keeps getting wrong. Information used to be the edge. It isn't scarce anymore, though. The edge moved to judgment, and judgment is verification. Copilot, never autopilot. So, 3 agents. Extractor, which pulls with forced citations and hands every calculation to Python, though it dies quietly on restatements if you don't check the filing date. Analyst, which reads margins against 5 years and peers, though its ratio floors are meaningless in isolation. And adversary, which diffs the language year over year on 188 basis points of Journal of Finance evidence, with a sample that stops in 2014. None of them predict anything. That's the feature. So, which of these 3 would you build first? The extractor, the analyst, or the adversary? Or has the adversary already changed your mind about something in a filing that you own? Let me know, because I read every single comment. And if this saved you from building a prediction bot the benchmarks say can't exist, show that like button some love and subscribe to the AI Bureau, because we break down how to actually use this technology every single week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. This is Lewis, signing off.